Monday, April 7th at 5:30 p.m. And if we can do a roll call, please.
Jenny Druckman.
Here.
Kurt Hauser.
Here.
Janet Reynolds.
Here.
Stella Reese.
Here.
Tracy Taylor.
Here.
Richard Ward.
Here.
Karen Schumacher.
Okay, we have a call to the public. Residents can speak at this time on topics that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody here that wants to do that? Haven? No?
Oh. Put them Don't worry.
Okay, hearing none, we will move on to item number 1, which is the discussion and possible approval of the grant application from Carolyn Toronto for Calliope Women's Music Fest in the amount of $500. Carolyn, come on up to the, and we should all have this in our packet.
Hopefully so. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us. That move.
That's good. Just stand like.
Okay. Yeah, this is the second year that we're going to host the All-Women's Music Festival called Calliope, named after the 9th muse of the Greek muses, and she was the one that was had the effulgent voice, poetry, all the things that we associate with the performing arts. So she's our symbol, our icon. There she is. I don't know if you guys got a copy of that from last year. This is a beautiful poster Lizanne Michaud designed, and gratis. She volunteered her time. And we had all the performers listed. This year we have the same performers and a few more. So we opened it up to a second venue over at Objects Hotel, which is that space right next to Roca. And it's got a beautiful resonance. So we have 8 or 9 more performers than total, 18 total.
Great.
And Jenny's part of it. She's going to be singing. So I don't know, do you want me to tell you what we need? I want to pay each performer $50 if they're a solo. If they're a group, we're going to have to figure something out. The time frame they get to perform is in half an hour to 45 minutes with a 15-minute breakdown between performers, and we're trying to stagger it so that those performing at Objects Hotel, there will be some overlap so people can zip back and forth between venues if they don't miss somebody they want to see. They'll at least get 20 minutes in each performer. And opening it up to vendors as well for free. It's free to the public, so I'm just raising money to pay the performers basically. I didn't get paid last year for my time, but I did get paid for my performance, so $50. And that's probably going to happen this year. We have to pay the sound guys. Last year, I privately raised, had private donors give us some money. And then since it's bigger and better, we need more money. So that's why I'm here, to beg for money. Any questions?
This is a really nice proposal, Carolyn. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody, do any of the commissioners have any questions?
No, I think this is a great looking proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
No, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I don't think you can vote on this because you are.
You will benefit from it, so you will have to recuse yourself.
Conflict of interest.
So you can't vote on. Okay. So I'd like a motion, please.
I move, oh yeah, I have to read this thing.
Just the approved part.
We're very professional out here. I move to approve, I move to approve the grant application from Carolyn Toronto for Calliope Women's Music Fest in the amount of $500.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Jenny is, Jenny recused herself. Nina? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay, no worries. So then we go on to item number 2, discussion regarding information on the Arizona Commission on the Arts and the highlight key findings from recent studies conducted by Americans for the Arts regarding the economic impact of the arts on local communities. Additionally, how arts funding directly supports our legislative district and share pertinent resources pertinent resources that can support local initiatives, and that is by Ash.
Hi guys. I'm a teacher, so I like handouts. So would you like this again?
I have it.
I will take a copy if that's
Yeah.
okay.
I have, Carolyn, do you want one?
Sure. I will. And then I need to leave after this.
You can leave anytime you want.
Whenever you
Oh,
want.
I'd like to hear about her.
Okay.
I can't ever leave.
Well, hi everybody. I want to start by just introducing myself. There's a lot of you who I do know, but some of you who I don't know quite as well. My name is Ash Dulke. I have many hats in the community, but one of them is I serve on the Arizona Commission on the Arts. I'm an artist. I live here in Bisbee. I teach at the college, and then I also am volunteering and doing work with the Arts and Culture Advisory Group with Camp NACO. A little bit of background just on the Arts Commission. So they are our state arts agency, and a part of their mission is that everybody can participate in the arts. And some of the things they do is they are a grant maker, a program and service provider, a convener, and a resource. So the first page of your packet is part of their convening. So they are currently working on updating their strategic plan. And so one of the things that they are doing is they're going around the state to hear about the needs of arts in a variety of communities. I'm really jazzed that they will be coming to Bisbee on April 17th from 3 to 4:30. If you all could be there, that'd be great. I think as folks who are navigating the Bisbee arts and culture scene, you have a really good sense of what's going on. Some of the other things they do, so as a grant maker, so they have creative capacity grants, which are for organizations, but then there's also potential grant opportunities that the Arts Commission might want to consider in collaboration with the City of Bisbee. So there's the Lifelong Arts Engagement Grant, which is to support programming for adults for arts programming, and youth arts engagement grants. And then festival grants. So those are all due at the end of April, actually on April 24th. So unfortunately, you have to move kind of quickly if you want to do something this year, but all of that information is on the commission website if you want to learn more. Majority of the time, those parameters stay relatively the same from year to year. So if this deadline doesn't necessarily work out, next year the deadlines are normally right around the same time. So I wanted to introduce the commission and myself as a resource, but also provide some information. One of those things being on the second page and the third page, this meant to be printed double-sided, so I'm sorry about all the paper. But this comes from the Arizona Citizens for the Arts, and they are the lobbying agency, so they're an arts they're able to do that for the commission. And through that, they produced this handout which takes data from Americans for the Arts, which is a nationwide arts organization that goes around every 4 to 5 years to collect data across the U.S. to see, how the sector is doing. And there's a lot of really interesting information here, including that the arts and culture industries contribute $11.6 billion to the state's economy, which is actually more than agriculture. Total incomes totaling $6.4 billion. If you turn to the next page, one of the highlights here, close to the bottom, is that any funding that is supported by the state typically has a 762% return on investment. So when arts are invested in our communities, we see a dramatic increase coming back in terms of tax dollars. If we keep going, that is related to some of this breakdown, showing that at these events kind of across the state when they last did this economic prosperity study, which wrapped up in fiscal year 24, is they had about 13 million local attendees go to events across the state. And non-local attendees to those events was 1 million. And so one of the interesting things there is the amount of money that folks spend on these events. If they are local, they spend around $35-ish. If they're non-local, right around $90. And some of that is related to needing a hotel. And we all know this here. Sometimes when I roll down the hill to go see a movie at the Central School Project, I might purchase snacks and beverages there, but I'm not having to pay for parking or anything else. So this data includes not only spending at arts event, but those other businesses, restaurants, babysitters, etc., who benefit from folks experiencing the arts in their communities. If we keep going, I wanted to highlight some of the impact statements that during the study that were highlighted. So 80% of folks who attended any of these events said that this venue or facility is an important pillar for me within my community. 84% of folks said I would feel a great sense of loss if this activity or venue were no longer available. 86%, this activity or venue is inspiring a sense of pride in this neighborhood or community. And so there's a few things that artists are really good at, and so for folks who facilitate the arts or who are artists themselves, we know a lot of things about arts strengthening communities. We see that very directly. We see the ways that it improves mental health and well-being, especially for those of us who are makers. We see a direct impact of that. But I wanted to present this information because I think talking about the economic impact of the arts is probably one of the areas that, without the data in front of you, it's really hard to advocate for more arts funding. But something else that's also really interesting is that, you know, we see this with our young people, and in Bisbee we do talk about this a lot. In Bisbee and in Douglas, where I teach, the youth having activities to keep them engaged. And when there are arts participation among young people, students engaged have higher GPAs, higher standardized test scores, are less likely to drop out, and are more likely to go to college. So I wanted to share that. On this last page, this breaks down Legislative District 21 and some of the grant funding, particularly from the Arizona Commission on the Arts. And I believe this just shows the nonprofit organizations, but the commission does have individualized artist grants that are not pictured here. And so this shows from 2021 to 2025, and so you see a breakdown of our local institutions and who is receiving that funding. This is for the full legislative district, but one interesting thing from the Commission's annual report is that from fiscal year 24, Bisbee received $46,000, which was dramatically higher than our other local cities, so I think that's something to feel pretty good about. But I wanted to share this, be a resource, be here for any questions that you might have. I know a lot of this might be information that you need to chew on a little bit. And I think that's it. I'm looking at my notes and I don't have anything else.
Thank you so much. Any of the commissioners have any questions for
Do you
Ashley?
see any potential change in the funding as a result of the economy, the regime, whatever you want to call it?
Well, I can speak to something positive first. So this is a budget that's not currently approved by the governor, but it's in the mix that the State Arts Commission, starting in 2012, did not have any budget in the general allocation. So in 2012, that was dropped. And every year after that, the State Arts Commission was just getting a yearly appropriation. So the commission really couldn't plan forward to see, okay, how can we build programming? What are our grants going to look like? And so In this new proposed budget, the Arizona Commission on the Arts is now finally a part of that general appropriation fund. It's a relatively small amount, but that is a step in a good direction. The commission receives funds from not only the state, but the NEA. A lot of the state arts commissions from around the US, they have to match funds from the NEA. And so I believe, gosh, I can't remember the year, but every state has an arts commission to be able to facilitate matching those funds from the NEA. And so right now, that's a big question mark. And so I don't really have a good answer at the moment.
That was
But-
good news.
But we do have funding from private donors, and we do have an artist trust fund as well that we're kind of reserving that money just in case something happens. So there is a backup, at least at the state level, but that's pretty much a Band-Aid for right now if something were to happen. Thank you.
Thanks for all this information.
Yeah,
I
this
had a
is.
question.
Girl.
I was looking at this grand total at the bottom, and from 2021, it went from 123 to 81.
Yes, and so that was most likely due to the year-by-year appropriation. So I believe,
Because this is just for this state, right? Or no?
this is
Just for our
for the
district.
legislative district.
Oh, I
21.
see.
So, this includes Southern Tucson. I mean, our legislative district is pretty funny. That's a very polite way to put it. But does not include Sierra Vista or Douglas. And so it's really like Southern Tucson and then Bisbee.
Oh, okay.
So there is a drop, and some of that is that the yearly appropriation fluctuated.
Okay.
And so last year there was an adjustment of that.
Oh, so that's what you were talking about,
No, yes and no.
that's the hope, is that if
Yes.
that passes through, then we're,
Then
now that's
there'll
a
be some
huge,
standardization.
that's a lot, really, when you think about it, from 2021 to now.
Well, and the impact on the communities too, and so the commission, we are able to advocate, but we can't lobby. And there's other supporting organizations in the state, so if you want to be active in some of those things that are happening, the second page produced by Arizona Citizens for the Arts, they have a mailing list and they kind of keep up to date with that and provide information in that regard. So it's always good to voice that the arts are important in our communities, and I think you guys are in a position to be able to speak about how the arts impact us here in Bisbee. And hopefully, I'll see you here.
Thank you for this data.
Yes.
As well.
Thank
This is
you.
really fundamental.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No?
So you had, just for clarification, you said grants in collaboration with the city of Bisbee. Are you talking about the government, or are you talking about the residents when you say grants in collaboration with?
Oh, so if the Bisbee Arts Commission wanted to facilitate, say in 2021 when there's that big arts festival, that could be something that the city would act as the, I don't know the proper term, but they would be listed on the grant application.
It's like a fiscal agent?
Fiscal agent, and so that would be in collaboration. For artists, your own individual, any sort of arts organizations in the community apply separately, but if the Bisbee Arts Commission wanted to write a grant for another festival, it'd be in collaboration with the city in that regard.
Great, thank you for that.
Oh, can I say one last thing?
Yeah, sorry.
So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm meeting with not only local arts organizations, presenting this information, but also local leadership. And I recently met with Mayor Budge, Steve Palkin, and Emmanuel Stewart. And I think right now is a really important time to have this information as the city is beginning to develop its general plan. A lot of cities do have, and I haven't looked super closely, so forgive my ignorance, but I think there's an avenue to add more language on supporting the arts in that general plan. And I'm one voice to meet with them and have that conversation, but you all have a good voice and folks in your community as well. So I hope, that's my last application for you all.
Thank you
I'm
so
really
much.
Thank you,
gonna sit down now.
Yes, thank you, Ash.
And I'm just gonna listen, because I'm nosy.
Okay, so item number 3, approval of the minutes of the February 3rd, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of February 3rd, 2025 meeting.
Second?
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, on to number 4.
And I have to apologize, I do not think I put in the open meeting law one.
Yes, you
Oh, it is, okay.
You did.
Thought I did not put them in
You
there,
are so good, Nina.
that I forgot.
You know how good you are.
I know. Well, I am so happy that I did, because I really thought I didn't.
So I always think this is a good thing to go over because we are a city commission and therefore we are held to the open meeting law standards that all cities and towns and governments are held to. So you're all adults, and so I feel like you can read through this if you haven't already, so that you can just kind of brush up on it. One thing that I think is really important is to talk about, I'm just trying to find if it's in here, well, there's a couple things. First, it's communication, so I think we all know that we have to put everything through Nina, and it seems cumbersome, but if you want to ask me a question, Stella, you have to tell Nina what that question is. She has to send it to me.
Oh, you mean as far as email?
Correct. Or phone calls or whatever.
Okay.
It just, stuff happening outside of here, is that?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. I mean, didn't mean to signal you out, you just looking at me.
No, because
Just an
you know
example.
what, I'm new, so I have some things to learn, and I'm
Just an
actually,
example, yeah.
okay.
The other thing is that everything we do is public record. So any of our social media posts, public record. They can't be deleted, comments can't be deleted. You can't just delete a post because that didn't do well, whatever. It's public record, it's there forever, and it can't be moved away from that. I think that otherwise, Nina takes really good care of us because she makes sure that our meetings are posted and that the agendas are right,
I try.
that the minutes are done, which I would like to say thank you,
Oh, you're very
because even though it's part of your job, you take really good care of us, and
Well, it's my pleasure.
the commission really appreciates you.
It's my pleasure.
And we should all reflect that when we are dealing with the folks at City Hall. Any questions about open meeting law? Okay. Hearing none, I will move forward with item number 5, which is the discussion regarding public art project by Commissioner Miller. Mr. Miller is no longer with us. He's moved to Las Vegas. So I don't know if we want to table this project, if someone else wants to pick up where he left off. Do we know where he left off?
The last I remember is he created a Google Doc for it.
Drive.
Drive, yes. I was like, Drive Doc. That was the last thing, and then I think he had gathered photos and stuff like that, but I think that was it.
Yeah.
So this is just a discussion, we're not gonna vote on, or can we vote on
No.
tabling it? No, okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
What project is this?
Right, that's a great question. So we had decided, probably like a year ago, that we wanted to kind of document the public art before it got painted over or goes away. Because there's some pretty significant artists that have made public art, and then there's some pretty great graffiti that's not a significant artist, but it's still, like, it's there, so why not document it? And then we were gonna make kind of like a brochure about it, or booklet about, this is, you know, to have a tourism office or wherever, to kind of give people a guide to what they're seeing, that it's not just, you know, some random tagger, it was, you know, somebody who,
To celebrate
yeah,
public art.
to celebrate the public art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Bisbee. And then also, we were talking about making a walking tour.
Right.
But is it like graffiti type art, or is it like the painting, the mural on the side of the
All of it.
hotel up there?
Just
I guess?
public art.
Just
Oh,
public
okay,
art.
so I think that's a great idea.
So if anybody's,
That's okay.
yeah, it was, yeah. So if anybody's interested in picking this project up, just contact Nina and let her know, please. Discussion regarding the Bisbee Arts, is there any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
How does he know who did the art and the, like, how would you know that? So say there was pieces of art in the, like, how would you find out who did what?
Right, so Karen
None of them were
Rose.
signed.
We know, I mean,
What's her
some of
name?
us know who did them all. I mean, that's the thing, is you have to go with the collective knowledge, is that there's somebody in this commission that knows who made it.
Do you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately know most of them, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you
Nice.
do. No, but I mean, especially like old, if somebody wanted to just concentrate on like one, like doing old Bisbee, because it seemed like it got overwhelming when we, you know,
Branched out.
which we should do all of it, but yeah.
But
Yeah,
But if you take
we'll start
a
smaller
picture,
bite.
we could tell you who it, unless it's just a random piece of graffiti, in which case you probably, the overlap between murals and graffiti is,
It's
it is,
personal.
it's two circles on top of each other sometimes, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Interesting.
But I think Nina can help you get access to the Google Drive, or someone can, right?
I think we all, yeah, we can, yeah.
Has there been anything uploaded to it? I know there wasn't
I
that
sent him
last
some
week.
stuff.
I think,
I
yeah, I was
sent
gonna say,
some emails.
I think one or, both of you did, okay, I knew somebody did, but I wasn't sure who. So yeah, I think there's just what they've uploaded, and I think that was pretty much all. I don't know if he had anything written up or anything like that. I can
It's
look
easy
at
to
it,
Check it, yeah.
I can look at it.
So another question, so if somebody took over this project, then their job would be just to take the pictures, upload them to the Google Drive, and then,
That would be step one.
That would be
and
step
that
one.
would
we need
be it,
addresses.
and then somebody,
Then as a commission, we would probably look through it, figure
Go,
out
oh,
what
this
we
is
want in the
this.
booklet or not in the booklet.
And
then
get
go from
permission
there. Get
from the-
permission from the,
Property owner, et
right,
cetera.
right.
okay. It's interesting.
It's a fun project.
It is kind of fun.
No, it does.
If
It
you
sounds
wanna
like
do
a
it.
fun project. I know, I'm thinking about it.
You chew
It's-
on that, put
it's-
Stella down for
I'm
this
asking
now.
questions,
Yep.
so.
I'll work on her.
Okay. Just put her down. Just kidding.
You get exercise too.
No, I think it would be a very
Yeah,
interesting
it's an
project.
interesting project.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
I think it would be good, and I wouldn't mind going and taking pictures. I just was like, well, how do I know what to do?
Right, yeah, you don't have to worry about
Just
that.
show it.
Karen, yeah, just show it to Karen, she'll.
Okay, all right.
Okay. All right, then, if nobody has anything further, we can move on to number 6. Discussion regarding the Bisbee Arts Commission budget for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. And that starts in July, is it
Correct,
July 1?
July 1.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, they will have their work session, and our proposed budget's in there. We've proposed, if you have this sheet, what we've proposed is in here. This is using all of the BAC money, but about $400. So I would hope that we didn't use all of our money, because once it's gone, unless you make more, there's not really a significant way to pay the grants out or the sponsorships or to do community events. Now, one of the biggest discussions Tracy and Jenny and I had was the budget for the New Year's Eve. There's no way to budget more than what's in there. So I do know that the budget for that was $13,800. I could only budget 10 grand for that. So I did put another $1,000 in the Bisbee Festival of Arts that we really didn't use that, but that was so I actually put $11,000 for that. But we need to keep in mind, if we're not making money on this event and you spend all of it, then there is no more money in the budget for you all. Your money is not generated from the general fund. It is all the money that you have earned from your events, from your cigar machine, from miscellaneous things that you take in. Sometimes we have donations that come in and things like that. The other thing too is the park bench. We don't have the whole amount. It's in there to purchase after the July 1st, but we kind of need those donations in. And I know we talked about those. I think we only have like $375, I want to say is what's in there. I think the bench itself was about $895 plus tax. We're going to say $1,000. So we don't quite have that money to spend yet. So if you got donations for that, we could take those in and then you could spend that money. Because I do have it as in the donations are $1,500, and then the expenses is we could do out the $1,500. We put a cushion in there. That doesn't mean that you have to spend the whole $1,500. It's just we wanted to make sure with the cost of things and the getting it here, and if there was anything else that needed to be done to have it installed and put the plaque on there. Sure. So we wanted to make sure there was enough money for all of that. So I budgeted $8,500, and I know that seems a drop from the year before. For cigar art machine was $10,000, but we technically don't take $10,000 in. On the last 2 years average, it's close to $8,000, close to $8,500. So we have to look at those things. If we get more, that's great, but if we don't, there's no way to pay them out if we aren't making the money in.
But so you just added, but you added more. Why? Like you added you added 10.
No, I took it out.
Okay.
And I'm saying in the bottom for expenses that for the cigar artist that will pay out about $5,500, meaning that if we made the 85 and we paid out the 55, you would net 3,000. I know that's not a lot, and usually we net a little bit more or a little bit less, but because of the way the budget runs, we're always catching up for that second quarter from April, May, and June, because we don't usually get that until July, and it goes into the new budget. So it's kind of, it's wonky, but it's about the average of what I could come up with, because what I don't want to do is trying to get $10,000 for a big event or $13,000. I couldn't do it because no matter what I did, I couldn't go over the amount we had in the budget. So
Which is 26,000.
yeah, so it's $26,400 and something that we actually have in there. So we're about, I didn't spend all of $400, but normally we don't spend as much. Even though we put it in here, we have never really given out $5,000 worth of grants, but we could. But if we used it for something else, then it's not there for those grants or for sponsorships.
Is there a minimum that do you want to keep that always, that amount? Is that a requirement for grants?
Yes, I always do 5,000
Okay.
because that is the threshold for each year.
Okay.
And then the other thing on the future agenda items, and I know I'm talking, but we need to discuss if we're going to still do the grants on a rotating cycle like we do now when they turn them in, or are we going to do it at one time of year? We don't get a whole lot of them in anyway, and some say it's the paperwork. I don't believe it's the paperwork. I just don't think they know or know what they need to turn in, because I have them call me and they're like, well, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I look for? And I give them all the information, but then they never turn it in. So it's the follow through that's not happening. I don't think we've given out 5,000 in the last 3 years. I'd say maybe up to 2,500 is what we've given out.
Can we do anything to facilitate the follow-through?
I mean, I could take their names and numbers and and say, hey, I can start doing that. I have not done that, but I can, and have somebody follow up with them and see if maybe they just need help. Maybe they don't understand what they need to do to fill it out.
Then maybe we could help.
Yeah.
Do we mail them the application, or do we tell them to download it from?
Well, they can come in. We always have copies of it.
Okay.
They can come in and get it, or it is a form on the website that they can pull.
And is it print only, or is it fillable?
It is not fillable because of the way that it's set up, but I can go back in and rearrange it a little bit to make it fillable. So I can do
That would
that.
help. That would help, I think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't have printers,
Right.
a vehicle to get to school.
Right. And I think we'll talk about, well, I don't know if it's on here, but the form, I mean, we can change the form however we want, but when they do it from the website, they still have to save it to their desktop and then email it to somebody.
Sure.
And so maybe I need to look at that and see if maybe I need to put my email address on there. And that might be easier, and then maybe make it where there's lines in there so that I can make it a fillable form for them.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that's a
it's
great
possible
idea.
to do, like for the cigar machine, I switched everything over to Google Forms,
Mhm.
and that's super easy for people to fill out, and then that gets cataloged in one spreadsheet, so we have everything in one
Yeah.
place, so. I know that was discussion a couple months ago, but it
Yeah.
kind of dropped off.
Well, the thing is too, is that if they do it electronically and we only get one in, then I have to charge them, or they have to make the other 7 copies, because each one of you gets a copy of it. So electronic turning it in, they just need to be aware, and we tell them that if you provide the copies, we don't charge anything, but if you need us to provide the copies, it's 25 cents a page times how many ever it is to print.
And they should bring them in, or?
If they email them in and they know that they're going to pay for the cost, they don't have to come in. If they bringing the whole thing, they have to come in and bring it to the city, so that we'll have a copy of it. But I think that was all of my thing. I do have the same amount for equipment repair in case we need it for the cigar. So this is what will go to the mayor and council for their work session for a budget.
Can I ask what the 10,000 for the BAC events coming in is?
That is the money that I said you're going to get for the New Year's Eve event.
Okay.
And down in the bottom, the expense, that's how much money I said you were going to expend out for it.
So we don't have this $10,000 in the bank.
You do.
You do, but if
Okay.
you used it, you
Then
would
it would
have
be
no
gone.
money.
Okay.
Maybe we could apply to.
Arizona Commission on the
I was
Arts.
like,
So I was thinking-
how nice, anxious here this
I mean, we can take some more money, you know,
You
it's
have all
not,
the information in there.
it's not impossible.
Oh, that'd be great.
So maybe somebody could put in for
I
that.
can do that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
There's a festival grant,
There is a festival.
but you have to have already, isn't it, there's some stipulation where it has to have already happened a few times.
It's kind of
Or there used to be.
It's happened.
it used to happen. It just hasn't happened probably in the last 10 years.
Some of the data would be hard, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
Some of that data would be hard to speak about. I would have to look at the guidelines again. It's been a while since I looked at the festival grant,
Mhm.
but I would look into it, and I can also, Brad, over at the commission, whoever wants to, I mean, I can share his email and do like a meeting email of
Yeah.
whoever wants to.
Maybe Kurt can get with you after the meeting and get your
Yeah, and
information.
then that way you have a direct contact for questions.
That'd be great.
Yep.
That'd be great.
All right, that was my last thing. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you very much for putting
Uh-huh.
this together.
Do we, oh, wait, I do have a question. Do we think that the cigarette machine is gonna continue to bring in what we're used to having it bring in because it's not full?
Well, I would say for the first quarter, we brought in $2,649, and we're only sending out right now $890. So we're going to net $1,759
Okay.
if we don't have to pay 3 other people out that haven't did their application.
So
So
that's sort of an average, isn't it?
for the quarters, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just wondered.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying so hard to keep my mouth shut, but I wanted to remind the commission, for those of you who do not know, there's also the option, we used to have fundraisers.
We know.
It was,
We know.
you know, yeah. That's always an option. We made like $13,000 at one. It's just a, you know, it's just a big project to take on. The art auction. So I do have all the information about the art auction if somebody wants it at some point, going all the way back to like
Yeah, you do.
2001.
It does sound like we're going to have to do something
Yeah.
to raise money, Kurt.
So
Is that
let's,
what the
before
book
we,
is?
Who won?
Before the picture book, is that like a fundraiser, like
No.
to get a, oh.
That was a gift.
yeah.
Okay.
No, not from, somebody gave us the money for that.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves as far as agenda items.
Yeah, sorry, I'm
We're
just-
still on the budget. Does anybody else have any questions for Nina on the budget? Okay. So item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding New Year's event 2025 budget. And Kurt gave us this really nice little breakdown. So, you do it?
Yeah, so I made a basic sort of budget outline for the event, the New Year's, proposed New Year's event for this year. And it breaks down into the fees that, this is all pretty approximate, fees that would use fees for the park, city fees, permits, liquor fee for a permit. The idea there was to have a partner of a nonprofit, to partner for the liquor permit. And then budget for entertainment in terms of local and out of town. Out of town is the vast majority of that is, I had for Flamchen.
Right.
And then some advertising supplies were for like making art for the parade. That would be the idea for that. So having a community, some funds for supplies for the community to make art for the art parade. Insurance, we had, it had been suggested to maybe rent some space, to have a community space for people to create art for the event generally. So I didn't look specifically into any particular place. And possibly that's something we could get donated by the city or something. They'd have a space we could use this, which would be preferable, you know, I think. But it would be, the idea that someone had presented would be that we had like a spot where people could come and go and leave their stuff, you know, so not like a room that we would have to vacate or something, you know, for however much time before the event. And so that's the,
So
that's
is
what's
that
on
like
the
studio space?
something like that,
Something like
yeah.
that? Okay.
The
Or-
city was open to the idea maybe of a city park, one of the spaces under city park.
Oh, yeah.
That was a possibility.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, just, you know, a place for people to gather and store things and kind of
So they'd be making it on their own and then bringing it in.
or making it their, you know, having
Okay.
community art making events is sort of what I thought.
Right, that's what I was
Um,
thinking.
But also, you know, where people could store the projects.
I see.
Does the city charge the commission for permit fees for,
You can ask for them to be waived,
okay.
but we couldn't do anything about the liquor because
No,
that's the
liquor, I know,
liquor.
it's the liquor, right.
Yeah,
But the park, city, and permits, we could ask for either less or waived.
yeah, we can ask. As long as you didn't need like police or anything like that, we'd have to pay them, but for the city, we could probably ask for a waiver of events fees.
Is that what the 700 is for the police, or?
I have no idea what the
What was the
700 was.
700
It was, that's from the website. I'm sorry, I should have better information for you. Just a permit for the event, for closing off the street. His idea also was to close the gulch off, to have like a street party, you know, in front of like the gulch area. So that's what that number was from.
And are we really adamant about not charging? Because I was thinking after I saw the budget, our budget, this one, not yours, that maybe it needs to be like, I don't know, wristbands that you get before. You know, like I think Pride does that. They sell
Yeah.
wristbands and then the wristband allows you into all the different things.
Right.
The parade would have to
We can
not.
certainly talk about that. I personally, I think I would prefer that we just have like a GoFundMe or just for people, that people could donate money to the event. I think would be, my personal hope for this would be extremely inclusive
Okay.
and not exclude people, especially for
For
financing
money,
or something.
okay. Can the
But I
city-
understand the idea, that we need
We need to
to
find
have some
this somewhere.
income.
Yeah.
So I don't know if.
Are we
that's
allowed
maybe-
to do a GoFundMe?
No.
I didn't think so.
But they take donations or something,
Yeah, we
people
do
can
have,
donate.
I did share with Mr. Ward that we do have a donation button, and all it just, one of the things is it says you just click donations, miscellaneous, and then in that miscellaneous, I think there's like a space where you could write down what you wanted to, like they could type in
What they want to do.
what the event was, BAC, New Year's Eve, whatever the event, or, anything. And then they could put in the money, and then we could take it through our website on bisbeeaz.gov. But we can't do a GoFundMe. You can't have like when Karen has done in the past, like the PayPal or the Square payments, not PayPal, but Square payment or whatever. She actually has it put in her bank account, and then she writes the city a check, which is fine.
Until the IRS comes and knocks.
Right.
Yeah, right. I'm not really down for that.
Way to go back.
Yes,
So-
there's this money.
So I did talk to Carrie, our finance director, and she's like, no, if we could just do it all through the city, because, we already have an account created for the Bisbee Arts Commission, and we already have a donation thing. They just need to put in what it's for. It's when they don't tell us what it's for that we have to track it down. Like try to figure out where that money is going. But there is like I said, it just says miscellaneous donations, and you just tell them what it's for, and you can put in any denomination you want.
What about doing something like selling merch? Like
That-
selling shirts and
Awesome.
things like that.
Spend money on the shirts first, if they sold.
Yeah.
I just mean, is that a
Yes,
possible
because
thing to do?
we would just deposit it into our account.
Yeah.
Well,
You
what if
would-
you made it $2 to get in, then if 2,000 people came, it would be quite a bit of money. I mean, even 1,000, that would be, or if it was $2 or some minimal amount,
Yeah.
like not a,
Not 20, 25, but maybe
Yeah.
$1 or $2.
That's true,
fine.
or
Like-
possibly, there's always, sorry, but, pay what you can.
Yeah.
That's another thing that you can pay
Yeah.
zero if you
Yeah.
want. But
The only thing is that you wouldn't have the ability to take a credit card in. It
Yeah,
would
that
only
would
have to be
be-
cash or check. And mostly cash is usually what you usually get, right? Is just,
Yeah, and unless we use a personal Square, which is not great.
No.
It was sort of a worker, it had to be a workaround.
Especially on like New Year's Eve.
There is options, so I use a platform called DonorBox for my nonprofit that is really easy to set up.
Yeah,
to
no,
a
we-
city bank account.
Can't
Yeah,
do that 'cause
you can't do that because
we're a
we-
city. We're gonna-
Yeah.
so we
I already
can't.
talked to the finance director, and we can't do that.
well, if it was a couple of dollars, most people have a couple of dollars on it, wouldn't you think? I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, we definitely have to think of something that is going to offset the cost.
Right.
So but I have a question about the 700 for the city. So I guess my impression was the parade was gonna go down Main Street and then up to City Park. But it sounds like you also wanna include the Gulch as.
that was an idea, but none of it's all flexible.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the idea, was to have like a street kind of thing.
I mean, I'm just wondering if that's one thing we could eliminate. for
You could
instance,
probably eliminate
that 700. I mean, just.
I'm not
Just-
sure what the $100 for the park was.
Fee for the park. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
you
on
probably-
the website, it's saying that there's a fee for park usage.
Then I'd probably say the park and the $800 you probably could just take off of there, because more than likely, if you requested, the city would waive the fees. We waived the fees when we did the right-of-way use permit for the Festival of the Arts, didn't we? We didn't charge fees.
No.
Cool.
Well, there,
So
just
that's quite a
$800
bit.
We just paid $800.
Now we're only at 13.
Karen, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just gonna tell you guys that I know that 3 or 4 years ago, there was a group of business owners that were interested in doing the same thing, bringing Club 10 back. and that there were a lot of business owners willing to donate.
Right.
So I would just say if you had the time to go around to ask them, I think there's a lot of interest.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah, I was gonna
Because they
say.
make money off of it. so
Right.
they-
Well, yeah, Fred Miller was like, he was in charge of it, but there was just only like 4 or 5 months. It seemed like it wasn't long enough. But I know there's a lot of interest there.
Yeah.
There are business associations that are forming, and that you might be able to find a group to talk to about it.
And I was also thinking like, different businesses, asking them to put a jar out. People throw
Oh, yeah.
change into it at the end of the day, or at the end of the purchase.
To raise money.
To raise money.
There wouldn't be a way to, like, make a QR code that people could donate a credit card to, is that what you're saying, like, that there's problems with the
No.
legality of that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't give you access to our bank account, and we don't want it going into your bank account because like she
Yeah,
said,
I don't
it's a
want
nightmare eventually.
Yeah.
Well, someday it'll be a nightmare for me.
I wonder if, so the nonprofit I was thinking about for the liquor, and I haven't finalized it with them, is Binational Arts Institute. So I wonder if they could, if they could accept the donations and then cut us a check or something.
Or what are you asking? Are you asking them just to pay for the liquor? Is that what you want?
Or carry the license.
Or
Oh,
carry
no,
the
well, this
license.
is separate from that. I'm just saying if we could just use them as a donation portal, basically. If because they could have they could have a QR code.
That's a
Oh,
good-
yeah, yeah.
Partner with somebody who doesn't
Yes.
have the
Yeah.
stipulations that we do.
There you
And then
go.
they can just write us a check.
Yes,
for
sorry,
it.
I wasn't quite
No,
understanding.
I don't speak clearly very
No,
often,
you're
so.
good.
Yeah, no, I just didn't understand. I apologize.
No, cool, so
No,
I,
but that would work,
Yeah,
yeah,
I-
because they could just cut a one big check at the whatever time frame to the city for that.
yeah,
That's a great idea.
It's a really good idea.
and maybe we could, talk about having them get a percent of it or something.
Well, that's usually the deal, or a percentage.
Yeah.
I will talk to the powers that be over there
Yeah.
and find out if that's a possibility. I think that they'll be down for it.
And as far as space rental, if we can use one of those offices under City Park, I would think that would be a savings of $1,000.
The mayor said they would be open to discussing it. I think there's one that's empty right now.
I think there is. All you need to do is just talk to Lorena in Public Works.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, we could
So
start
now we're down to like
fundraising.
$12,000.
Yeah. We might have it down to 12,
Yeah.
but we also need to remember that if we use all the money in
Yeah,
there,
no, we have to.
we gotta put some back in there.
So we need to kind of brainstorm some fundraisers.
And we do not, I put it on here as a vote, but we don't have to. We could bring it back as a discussion, like if you've gone to talk to some businesses in the next month, or until the next meeting, if whoever, you and someone else go and talk to some businesses, or partner, see if you partner with, and then come back and say, maybe we won't have to
Yeah.
come all the way out of the coffers for all of this.
Right.
What if we send a letter to all the businesses in town, rather than taking up one of the commissioners' time, and then not going into a business at a time that it's convenient for them, and then they're like, well, the commissioner always want, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, I don't mind drafting a letter,
Yeah, that's fine.
and then you must
And
have
then
a,
following up in person.
yeah, we can follow up in person.
Yeah. For majority of them, I think
meetings.
they probably have a business license. I could probably get their mailing address from there. So if you have a letter, and then tell me, I don't know all of the businesses. You would have to give me a list of who you'd want the letters to go to. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have files and files and files of business license. So I'd need to know which ones you'd like us to send that to.
Okay.
Good ideas.
And so we can discuss it again. We don't have to approve it now. We can discuss it again after we've done some other things.
Okay.
Would you feel more comfortable if you knew that there was a budget in place?
I would in terms of something like Flamchin, to be able to
Right.
tell them, yes, we want this level of performance from
Okay.
you. That's really the only thing that I would like to have handled right now.
That's fine.
But other than that, like the other performers from in town, it's more flexible, I think. Don't need to know immediately or any of the other stuff probably, but Flamchin I would like to.
I'd say let's do the budget at the 1380, 800, and then when we realize what we can knock off of here, then it'll be less than that.
I agree.
And maybe we can get it down enough with a sponsorship or donations or whatever.
Okay. I do have one thing about the fire.
There's no fire.
There's no fire.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just.
Because I don't think the city was gonna.
No.
I take it out.
Yeah, no
I did
fire.
have a conversation with the city and they were like, yeah,
No, I just told them they're not, and they're happy, they're fine.
Okay. okay. All right, so, we have no other questions regarding this budget, do we have a motion?
Will I move to table the budget in the amount of 13?
No, you move to approve.
We're gonna approve it.
Oh, we are approving it? Sorry. I'm sorry. I move to approve a budget in the amount of $13,800 for the New Year's Eve event 2025.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you-
We can do it, you guys.
Yes.
Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the SIG Art recruitment. And can I add a word to that? Or no?
No.
Okay.
Say that.
What is the word?
Retainment.
It's the same thing.
Retention.
Retention.
No, because recruitment is different.
No, but I understand what you're saying. It could fall into that.
Okay.
You can add that into the discussion.
Okay. So, Commissioner Ward?
So currently, I believe we have 10 people in the machine. I think doing the online application has helped, and I think kind of my real goal on this project and being on this board is to kind of help make things more efficient, because it seemed like a lot of the cigar machine, it was chasing people down and a lot of work to kind of get people in the machine. So I've kind of taken the approach of like, if you want to be in the machine, great, but here's what we need from you, and if you don't want to be in the machine, that's fine, kind of thing. So putting the current inventory online, keeping that updated, doing the online application, I think has been really helpful, and I feel like the people that are currently in the machine are really solid. I think communicating and just letting people know like when they're getting paid and things like that has been also really helpful. In
How
my
many
mind,
slots
Have we
we have 10 spots
Sorry.
open.
Okay, so we only have
And so we could definitely use more people. I haven't done a whole lot of like active recruitment on it just because it seems like, you know, the first quarter we did 2650 for the quarter, and that was with like, you know, just a few good people. So that top spot I think is 11, or I guess we have 11 people, so I think it's 11 on top and 11 on bottom. I think that top spot typically sells better, whereas the bottom spot doesn't, is my kind of understanding. So it's kind of like, you know, as long as we keep that top row filled, I think that's kind of ideal. But as people come in and want to do it, we've got the application on the Instagram and the link tree and all that kind of stuff. So.
Have we had people apply since it's become easier that way?
Yep, yeah, I've recruited, I think 6 or 7 of the 11 that are in there have been through Instagram or personal messages, and then I think we've had about 4 people that retained over, so, yeah.
Okay.
So
Thanks,
maybe-
Richard. Thank you for that.
So if y'all know anybody, I mean, we're still open to, there's plenty of spots, but, yeah, I think it's great to have people in, but I would rather
Maybe
have
some
people.
social media, we say we have 11 open spots.
I did do a couple posts. I've kind of been focused more on the running of the machine than the
Sure.
social side of
Sure.
things, just with my work schedule time and all that kind of stuff. But
I was
yeah,
wondering if you wanted either help or if you wanted somebody else to take that.
if
The social
somebody,
media
if somebody
part.
wants to take over social, all the systems are in place. We've got the Canva account with a bunch of templates. I've got the meta, everything's linked and ready to schedule and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy to train somebody on that, because typically I would do, for me to do like a month's worth of calendar on there would take me like 5 to 6 hours a month for social.
Sure.
And I feel like my time's better spent on cigar machines, since
Right.
that's revenue driving kind of thing. So, yeah, if somebody did
I'm
want
happy to
take
take
over.
that over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something I can do.
Cool.
Even when I'm away.
Yeah, I'm happy to schedule time to meet
Yeah.
and kind of run you through. There's a lot of templates. I don't know if you've used like the Meta scheduling tools.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we do a lot of social media for the market.
Okay,
So,
cool. Yeah, so, yeah, it's all pretty easy, so if you have any questions, or need access to anything, I'm happy to pass it on.
Okay,
So,
great.
I would like to, oh, sorry, are you finished? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, as far as like recruitment goes, I think word of mouth would be super helpful. Like, if anybody knows anybody, one thing that I think is helpful is we're asking for 20 pieces at a time. I know a few people were sending stuff really sporadically, and then that makes my life difficult, because I'm like having to box up 2 or 3 at a time, do all the, it's not a whole lot more work for me to put in 20 pieces than it is for me to put in 2 kind of thing. And especially when we're doing the paperwork and people dropping off stuff, I'm like, you need to be committed to this kind of shit, so, yeah.
Does anybody balk at that? I mean, in the past, just,
Some people used to hand in like 4 at a time, or 6, it's just depends on the person.
depends on the person.
Yeah, but I know like Tonya, she does ceramic stuff, it's really good, and she was dropping off like 7, I'm like, dude, you need to put in some more pieces, and last time she dropped off like 35.
Wow, okay.
Lori's been super great, she drops off like 40 at a time. I don't remember what our current stock is, but I think it's like 150 pieces that they have as back stock right now.
Okay,
So,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
thank you.
And then like people that, once that people do get low, I just start putting them in the mystery slot. They're still in the spreadsheet and all that, and that way we can keep that tracked year over year. Because I would also like to give priority to people that sell pretty regularly, since this is like the thing that we use to make money.
Right.
So, yeah, I think tracking stuff and being able to see like, okay, this person sold 200 this year, but this person sold 5.
You're right.
Maybe you don't get the priority slot.
Right.
Kind of thing, so.
But it is noticeably half full,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get more people in, if y'all know people that want to submit. On the Instagram, there's a link tree, and that's got all the links to the applications and processes and things like that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe we'll do a call to artists. Would that be something?
We have to do something.
We have to do something.
Yeah, because.
Where do you pick up the little canvases?
At City Hall.
City Hall?
I think y'all have some too, but the majority of them are at City Hall.
I don't, I just have the boxes. I
Oh,
don't have
okay.
the canvases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have one.
Like the little canvases to work on? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
To
Not
paint
like
on.
this.
I have like 40 or something. I can give them to whoever wants them. Or, I mean, or back to the city, or,
I can go to the city either way, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I have some.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I do have art for you to pick up, or
Okay.
whoever to pick up. I think it's just one.
Okay. And yeah, I'm happy to, I've got a little sign on the machine, but it's just at the bottom slot right now, so we could put a bigger QR code fly here, that kind of stuff.
Okay. That would be good.
Yeah.
I think we kind of almost need like some posters around town.
I agree.
We just need to
Get the
juice
word
that
out
thing
there.
up,
Yeah.
because it's been really low energy.
Do you want to make
I mean,
that
just
poster?
because it's half full doesn't mean it's low energy. in my
It is
opinion.
too.
You know, I mean,
I was gonna
is
say,
there
marketing-wise,
evidence that there's less sales now than when it was more?
It's
A
a
little
little more
bit.
like
Especially-
just
Makes
what
me
I'm
like
used to seeing,
shine.
so maybe it's not even.
Need some lights.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of high
I would like
quality art
art
in
in
it.
it sign.
Yeah, they're all.
And that it's, we're doing this stuff over and over and over, so. I mean, it's good, it'd be great to have.
Can we just do one
What was
person
it?
speaking at a time, please? Thank you.
Yeah, maybe there's no problem. I'm just used to seeing it. full.
Are we making the same amount of money that we
We've
made
made the
when it
same
was
amount.
small?
We pretty much are.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah, I think for the first quarter, we had,
Do we have a year over year, or is it just like a quarter by quarter of the previous years?
Yeah, we do.
yeah, we do. I can pull that.
I'd be
It might take me a
curious.
little bit, but I can pull that.
Yeah.
For the first quarter of this year, it was 123 pieces,
Okay.
but I'm not paying out about 34 of them because they don't have their paperwork in.
So when they put art in and they don't put their paperwork in, we can't keep
I
that money.
can't pay them.
Yeah.
Well, what is happening right now, I just spoke with Mr. Ward about that this afternoon. So I can hold that in there for first quarter, and I have a list of who I did not pay, who I'm going to pay and who I didn't pay. If they do their paperwork in the second quarter, I can pay them for the first and the second quarter. But he's gonna give them a deadline that if they don't have it by the second quarter, then we're just going to
We're just
keep
gonna
that
keep the
money.
Yeah, because it's an online application.
Yeah, it
and
makes-
W-9.
yeah,
If you don't get
totally
your
makes
paperwork
sense.
in, it's already.
So, yeah, because I thought you
had
said you'd give
6
them a deadline or
months.
something for the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
quarter.
and everyone's been communicated to multiple times, and I think that's part of that, like, weeding out process, is like, if you can't do a 2-minute application and mail in a W-9, like,
Right,
don't really want you to machine anyways.
right. We don't wanna chase anybody down
Yeah.
for things.
But if we are making the same amount that we're used to making and, you know.
It seems to be around the same amount. I think in the
It's a
beginning,
good
it was a
point.
lot more,
And it's slowed over the years.
but it has slowed over the years. I'd say the last 3 years, it's pretty much about anywhere between $2,200 to $2,700 for the quarters.
That's true. And he's right, the top is what sells.
Okay.
The bottom was very slow.
Because we had, I think 14 or 15, and then just people didn't refill kind of thing, but I was noticing those bottom slots, like, they would, you know, what would sell, I would restock 15 pieces on the top and maybe one on the bottom,
Interesting.
kind of thing, and even rotate people around.
It's easier to
What
see.
about going to like the school and having some of our young artists?
That's a cool idea.
And how do you pay young artists?
Hmm?
How do you pay?
You pay them the same way
Same,
you
just pay.
Yeah.
Cookies.
DQ gift certificates.
I
I don't know, I
think that's a
just don't think
fantastic
it's a
idea.
bad
I
idea.
think it's a great idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
it does keep us in support of
Children.
the kids
And-
and
Art-
the arts
producing art.
programs.
They grow into adults.
The high school art teacher was on this commission. She's
Yeah.
she's
Right.
really nice.
Yeah,
Amy.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
would
you
just-
do like a pilot program, like before you pay them, you see how much interest you get in, and if if somebody sells the most, then they get like a gift card or something.
Why can we not pay them? We can pay them.
No, I'm just saying if you don't think they're gonna turn it
as a
in.
pilot, I see.
Yeah, like if
Yeah,
you don't
'cause
think
they'd
that,
have to do a lot of art and sort of commit.
right, they'd have to kind of commit to it. And a lot of times they have other things they're working on other than their art.
Right.
So if they couldn't commit, maybe,
Maybe we
for,
would just have one slot for,
yeah,
yeah.
Can we put that on the future agenda to talk about what that looks like and how we might go about that?
Maybe like a mystery slot for kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or just a
I would
Bisbee
go
High,
with
Bisbee High
artists.
School
Yeah.
artist slot, or, you know, because I think it's important to let them know, let people know. Because I think that people would support kids,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
You could
If
have a
they run
teacher
about
do it too, like maybe
Yeah.
the ceramics teacher, have the kids all work on it, so then you'd have the whole classes instead of just one,
Yeah.
like then they wouldn't have to make a commitment, because there's 25 kids in the
Right,
class or
right,
whatever.
that's a good point.
Then you'd have
Yeah.
all those pieces, and they'd have to make them the same kind of size and put their own little spin on it, right?
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
canvases.
Oh, there you go, little canvases.
It'd
Yeah.
be easy. Amy,
Yeah, I'll talk to Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Because, yeah, the mystery spot does surprisingly well, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Everybody likes.
And then encourage them like, hey, you can make money off of this
Well,
if
we
you
could
continue
advertise the
to.
kids' stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
like if they wanted to leave the high school spot and get their own spot.
Correct.
then they
Like,
could-
see what that looks like.
Right,
So
Yeah.
they graduate.
right,
So
until they graduate. And
This
then-
is specifically high school, like older kids, or
I
are we
would think
talking?
so.
I think,
I would
yeah.
think so.
It would
Yeah.
Like middle
more
school
out.
kids.
Oh,
makes
I
me
don't know.
feel
I'd really
nervous
rather
when
have
consistency
greatness.
stands.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else on the SIGART recruitment,
Yeah.
okay, we can move on.
Got the application online and people want, cool.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Item number 9, discussion on Friends of the Bisbee Arts Commission. So I did contact Jason at the library. And basically, if we wanted to have a Friends of the Bisbee Arts Commission, we could do that. It's just finding people who would join it and start a 501c3. It's like the animal shelter has the Friends of the Bisbee Animal Shelter, the Friends of the Copper Queen Library, but it does mean recruiting more people.
Is this, like we were talking about with the donations
It would
funneling
make,
through?
yes.
Okay.
yeah, if we had a Friends, then we would have it. It
They
would
could focus more on the
fundraising.
fundraising and
Got it,
the donations and getting those in.
So Jason says it's real easy, it's just,
Finding
we
your
can't do
group.
it. We just have to find somebody who wants to start that,
Okay.
and then have them start it and start the 501c3, and then we go from there.
And then they do all, come up with all the
They
ideas
come up with
to
all that, yeah.
raise money, like a, you know, the
And of course, we support them and, you know,
give of our time and.
give of our time and help out at events and, yeah.
Talk to Sharon.
Yeah. Good idea.
I need a personal one of those.
Hmm?
I need a
Friends
Friends
of
of
Kurt
Kurt
Hauser.
It's a fundraiser for me.
I think we all do.
Anyone want
right
to take
now.
that on?
I think we all do right now. Okay, so any other, you're gonna talk to Sharon?
I'll talk to Sharon.
Okay. See if she wants to start that.
Is she still on Board of Adjustment?
Tell her Karen, tell her
But they don't
Karen's
meet,
in.
but
And
as,
tell her I sent, you know, she won't let.
Okay,
That'll do it.
She loves to do things with the artists, she just doesn't want to be on a commission right now.
right,
yeah.
because I did ask her.
Yeah,
Well, the Board of Adjustments is as needed, so she doesn't, I mean,
It's a real
it's,
pleasure too.
hey, they got to do it last time.
Yeah, oh good,
1 out of the 5.
yeah.
Okay, and then, so our, item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding website hosting or revamp of the current page.
Mr. Ward actually asked that to be removed from there,
Okay?
from the
so
agenda.
We will just remove that from the agenda. So on to, item 11, I think that we
We-
got the SIGART,
And I think we've talked about
Update.
social.
and we got the social update, so
Camp
Camp
Naco.
Naco,
Camp
yes. Yeah, well, Camp Naco considers itself a clearinghouse for binational relations. That's pretty mighty, isn't it?
Clearinghouse.
A place where everything can come together. And there is a fellowship application that's coming to a close very soon. And it is for funding. They have $350,000 for 1.5 years worth of programming, or for whatever the grant cycle is supporting on that. And
Is it for art programming, or is that what you just said? Just wanted to.
but it has to be related to Buffalo Soldiers, the environment here, the binational aspect of things. Just, it's pretty broad what it can relate to, but it needs to, this is what they see running through there. This is the showcasing.
is the money in jeopardy because of the Buffalo Soldier
No.
piece? It is not, okay.
And when is the deadline?
It's the 15th.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, and it's just lovely, and it's with very, the hands-on and steering of the ship is with really well-educated, good people, and so I'm looking forward to what comes of this.
Fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 12. I'm sorry, Kurt. Future agenda items, if there's no discussion, just throw out what you want to talk about.
So I have the public art project, the New Year's Eve event, and the pilot program for kids, and that's all I have.
And I'll be able to tell you about probably the awards at that point, too.
So I can
I
update.
can do an update.
So another update? Okay.
Yes, please.
And then Nina, if you, and when you can, could you just pull the financials for the cigarette machine over the last couple of years so we can do a compare and contrast on it?
Yeah, I think I sent that to you all.
Did you?
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
4 or 5 months ago.
I have
Yeah,
to
but
look
I'll
again.
pull it again and I'll
'Cause I
make sure.
I don't get anything
Just
from
look
you
through your
unless I
emails.
search it.
I can't believe that.
Isn't
You
that
send me
weird?
to junk, I tell you.
I didn't, you don't go to junk, that's the thing.
So what I'll do is I'll bring back the financials for the SIG art.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else have anything they want on the next agenda? Hearing none,
None.
I would take a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn
Thank
in
you,
honor
Jen.
of Bill Higgins.
Oh, that's right, every
Nice.
time makes me sad.
I know, me too. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
That was
Aye.
really important.
Aye. So I think we can